especially in beans, sometimes you just gotta stop and grab the rock. Ooh. And toss it into the shrubbery. It'd be a pain if anybody ever goes in there and starts clearing stuff. They're gonna find a minefield of boulders. Hello, Bame Farm fans. It's a day. A day in July, more than I'd like to admit, about the 5th. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a whole lot of story, a whole lot of questions. I'm sure you're seeing this mess of a field. Well, that kind of matches the raininess. That green section is not drying to save its life, and it's uphill from all that slope. It might have been dry earlier before we had inches and inches of rain to end June. As you can tell, we're not making dust. The soil isn't naturally dark. The soil is damp. As you can kind of see the graying in between the grass. Oh, and it's sunset. At least we'll get to see the lovely sunset. Don't get distracted by that red light. I think the sensor's bad, because everything works just fine, and that light's been on for a while. It goes away sometimes, and then it comes back the next day. But TA works. We're just in 4 low TA. Planting beans leisurely. Nick did a bunch of disking today. And, well, this field it was probably dry when I was planting corn, but, you know, it can only be in so many tractors at so many places doing so many things. In between doing vegetables and all that, which really, other than laying plastic, the vegetables have gone in after the rainy days, like when it was too wet to do anything out here. So that section is the best part of the field up there where it's dry, just in front of the sun. It's the best because it rolls and gets the water off really, really well. You can get inches of rain, come out here in 2 days and drive on it no problem. It might not be dry to work, but it won't be a mud hole like this back section will. And it's maybe supposed to run into these, that's a ditch right there, run into the ditch. But it's so flat, it's almost a gentle bowl. And it'll be interesting to get a land leveler over here to deal with that, because we gotta cross a creek. So we're planting our 10 rows of beans at a time. Gotta watch the marker a little bit. The marker runs down the rows. Now we just saw in the last video I mowed hay yesterday, and now they're giving us an extra dry day possibly in the forecast, which will be good for hopefully getting beans done. I didn't want to like mow hay and have stuff to plant, but I had to make a start and make a sacrifice to the rain if it did, which depending upon which TV station or weather app you asked, I'd be better off just putting a rock outside looking at it as to what the weather is going to do. If it's raining, if the rock is wet, it's raining. If the rock is dry, it's not raining. If the rock is gone, probably a tornado came through. You know, that weather rock. Or the weather rope. Same concept. Of course, the rope at least acknowledges wind better than the rock does. So unfortunately in this field, we're making it up. It's kind of interesting to spray, interesting to harvest, but it's beans. So we can get away with a lot of sins on row direction. Because right now I'm just planting, starting along that ditch right there and going with it. Typically I would plant starting along the back, there's a straight line to start with. And last year I had corn planted this way, about a 45 to what we're doing now. I've also had the rows running a 45 the other way to what we're doing now. So we don't know. There'll be beans out here. Like corn went pretty well. And then just beans. Just hit a wall of rain. Because since June 19th, we've been wet. And at the beginning of June, we were getting, I don't want to say spotty showers, but it was light rain here and there, and just kind of enough to keep us off of working ground. And then right before the 19th, we tried to work a bunch. I didn't work here, we worked at home. Got that close, but not quite. And then it rained, and it's not dried out yet. So this field is doing okay-ish for the 5+ inches we've had in about the last 2 weeks or less. Now you may not say that's a lot, but around here, I'd say flatness is more predominant over rolling ground. And partner that with a heavy clay soil type, and an inch is even a lot of rain. So when we go with multiple inches, it's just wet. Now we got to look at the back at some point. I need to, now Nick better show up soon, because if we get whiplash again, those 2 units are getting low. We can't see the seed. And we got to watch the marker a little bit. We'll try not to crisscross rows. Spacing won't be perfect, but there'll be seed out here. Because at this point, this is part of the reason why I hate beans, is because it seems like the last few years it's just a struggle to finish. And you know, I'm probably the only one on YouTube still probably getting beans in besides double crops. But there's a few of us in the area. I'm not the only one, and most of them are bigger. Most of them don't put out 10 acres of sweet corn and vegetables. In fact, none of them do. Who are still scratching away, putting beans in. Maybe we'll all get done this week. And some of the locals are even replanting. I don't know how local, maybe not within miles, but I do know of a few guys who are replanting the replant, because one of the replants or plantings was probably only days before that June 19th date, which was, well, a few days after that corn cultivating video. Markers on the planter run off the remotes. We got one for each side, 3-point. And the planter monitor is, if you can hear, if I don't talk too loud, you hear that? A little clicking noise. Don't look at the ugly window. That was probably had a whistling diesel moment where somebody hit a tree branch, most likely me. I didn't do both of these though. One of these was me, one of these was somebody else. Just hitting a tree branch on a field edge. Well, it's getting dark, the sun's over the horizon. We're gonna turn the lights on the 10. And we're gonna plant for a while tonight. And we'll probably be almost halfway-ish with this field. Depending upon whether we can work that tomorrow, but we gotta bale hay tomorrow. So as usual, everything to do on the scramble. To get things done. So if Nick makes it back, maybe I'll put him in charge of watching me plant. If not, we'll call this a video on my head, just to have a video from the operator's view. And we'll catch you guys later with more fun farming action.